When I was 13 years old, I won $100 from the local radio station Z100. They asked who performed Horse with No Name, and I knew that it was the band America. But honestly, it wasn't luck. I had always been obsessed with music from a very, very young age. And at that point, I was walking around with this book called the Rock and Roll Almanac, which I happened to look up when I was working on this video. And as soon as I saw the cover, it brought back so many memories because I ran that book ragged. I carried it everywhere with me. And honestly, a lot of teachers would come up to me and ask me about music and songs. All my friends knew exactly what songs were the top 10 when they were born because I had all of that information at my fingertips. And that book was just filled with all sorts of interesting and obscure information. That's also why I wanted to be a DJ. So when I went to college, I was studying audio production, and the radio show that I wanted to have was called 6 Degrees. I called it 6 Degrees because of how much music is all connected to each other, which, yet again, I have always found to be quite fascinating. So, one simple example of that is the fact that Mick Jagger sings backup on Carly Simon's You're So Vain. And when I first heard this bit of information, of course, I had to listen to the song for myself. And as soon as I heard it, Mick Jagger's voice is so distinct, and it's just something you really can't unhear it, to the point now where I actually think I hear Mick Jagger's voice on the song more than I do Carly Simon. And that's the kind of information that I just love. It's one layer, 2 layers down of depth and facts and connectivity, and just I've always just found that to be so fascinating. And apparently, I never really grew out of it. So as I've been working on the concept for this YouTube channel, it popped to my mind that wow, I have always sort of lived my life looking for this connective tissue, all of these different things that one connects to the other. And I even think of that based on the fact that I started the business in New Orleans, and New Orleans is so committed to its culture, and there's that element there as well. So there's a deference in New Orleans to its culture and how all of those pieces and parts connect together. And that is really how I produce the events that I produce for my clients now, looking for that connective tissue, that red thread. And, more recent example of that, this past week, I was in Dallas and I was doing site visits. And when I walked into the one hotel ballroom, I noticed that there was this crazy starburst. It was sort of celestial looking light fixture. And funny enough, the client who I'm working on, their name has the word galaxy in it. So for me, it just was sort of like this aha moment where I saw that connective tissue and I got really excited about it. So, of course, I shared it with the client, and that is just one example of an element that I look for that takes it from something that's sort of like, I don't know, I don't want to say mundane, but maybe a little bit obvious to, oh, wow, there's just this little itty bitty connection that we can add there. And that is really a big part of the experience that I am looking to produce. So of course we're, the venue and the F&B and the rentals and the decor and the run of show, all of those logistics are table stakes for me. Those are going to come with every event that we do, no matter what. Of course I think about them, but where I'm really focused is the next layer of depth and detail that we can provide, those 6 degrees that I can connect back to the client and the client's purpose and their guests. So the more data points I can get from the client, like what's your ultimate outcome? What does success look like? who's the most important person in the room, and then how we can connect all of those pieces and parts together in order to make something that's exceptional and really impactful to the client and their guests. I'm not looking to wow people with just random stuff. Everything needs to feel like it's all connected and there's an intentionality to it. And that brings me back to the concept of 6 degrees, because that really is how I approach every client's event that we work on. So, it's basically what I've been doing my whole life. I feel like I've essentially traded in the Rock and Roll Almanac for a much larger database, and that is how I approach every client event that we work on.